Naturally, the brain prize is the dream of every neurological specialist and neuroscientist. When I got the call, I was really blown away and could not believe it. The award is for the discovery that there is a very close connection between the nervous system and cancer. Both I and Michelle Monge, a professor from Stanford who, a fellow award winner, is receiving the prize with me, have spent many years creating, establishing, and developing a whole new field, cancer neuroscience. What it ultimately involves is that our nervous system has a massive influence on cancer, its development, growth, metastasis, and then also its insensitivity to therapies that we currently have available. As a doctor, I see many patients with brain tumors, and I always try to see the people who really need help and where I can really make a difference. At the same time, I am also a scientist, or in other words, a physician scientist, a doctor who works in science. I research brain tumors, what causes them to develop, what drives their growth, how these tumors function, and try to develop new concepts for their treatment. A lot in science depends on technology. Here on our campus in Heidelberg, we have a 2-photon microscope that allows us to take a very close look at what happens in the living brain at extremely high resolutions. We can even track individual structures over days, weeks, months, or years. For a long time, we did not understand how these tumor cells managed to colonize the brain so successfully, and how they had already spread almost everywhere by the time of the diagnosis. That is one thing we have discovered with our research, for example. Nerve cells also need to connect with other nerve cells in order to form a meaningful communication network, and this requires long membrane extensions. Tumor cells basically do the same thing. There are in fact synapses located on these very long membrane extensions of the tumor cells. These synapses do not come from other tumor cells, but from the normal nervous system, from normal nerve cells that are directly in the vicinity. This causes the tumor to be continuously stimulated. And so, the very nerve cell activity that defines our brain unfortunately leads to the tumor growing faster and spreading more quickly. How can we utilize what we have now discovered to devise even better therapies in the laboratory for the benefit of tumor patients? To this end, I have now initiated a large study with 13 major German brain tumor centers, where we are giving patients with recurrent glioblastoma, i.e., brain tumors, a specific inhibitor of these synapses before and after surgery. The crucial question is, will we be able to disrupt the malignant communication without affecting the benign communication of the normal nervous system? In medicine, we do indeed know that the brain can have a massive influence on diseases through cognitive processes. The patient's expectation of the procedure is often the strongest predictor of how well the procedure will work. With this new knowledge that we have gained, with the strong connections between the nervous system and cancer, it is highly plausible that our cancer is also influenced by cognitive processes. One thing we certainly do not yet have are clear strategies on how to implement this. I think it will be more than just a specific meditation or yoga technique, perhaps something totally different. And yet, we can also pursue this. Why ever not? After all, we are not talking about magic tricks here. The data backs it up. Science is collaboration. I always say, we must not allow ourselves to be dumber than the malignant networks that these tumor cells form. We have to set our benign networks against them. For many years, I have been working very closely on research and discovery with Thomas Kunert from the Department of Neuroanatomy and with Varun Venkataramani. Being awarded the Brain Prize is certainly not only an honor for Michelle Monge and I, but also for the entire field, for many fellow scientists. The award is indeed very highly endowed and at our personal disposal. I have decided to donate a significant part of the money and employ it for charitable purposes. Together with Stefan Pfister and my wife Eva Winkler, I have launched a campaign for our country called Democracy Needs Facts. Science Needs Democracy. I very much hope that we will only need a few years before we see the first positive clinical trials showing that this area of cancer neuroscience can truly become a new pillar of cancer therapy, not only for brain tumors, but also for many other tumors outside the brain.